Welcome to Breaking Ties, a new you after divorce. This is your go-to source for practical advice and support for when the divorce process has finished. Join us each weekday for a quick chat where we'll cover a variety of topics related to post-divorce. Together, we'll explore the emotional, financial, and legal aspects of life after divorce and help you find the best path forward for you and your family. Here's your host and Certified Divorce Financial Analyst professional, Mike Fulkerson.
Hello and welcome to really the fourth day of 5 in our Breaking Ties interview series this week, where we're talking with Chris Lunardini, who is an attorney with SPYRATOSDAVIS. Hey, I got it right on the first try this time this week. Goodness. They're in Lisle, Illinois, and I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And Chris has been with us all week, and he's been answering some of those common questions we have with great detail and a lot of information. So if you haven't caught the previous 3 days, you're going to want to go back and you're going to want to listen to those podcasts as well, because he's going to fill you in on some of the little tidbits that go on through the divorce process. And once again, welcome back to the show, Chris.
Thanks again for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes, definitely. Now, today we're going to mix it up a little bit. I mean, I think we did property yesterday. We kind of did the process a little before that and fees and things. But today it's all about the kids. We're going to talk about, just the different aspects of if you have children, what can we kind of expect? And let's start with the parenting plan and how does that come about?
Sure. So parenting plan, what is that? So the parenting plan is made up of two aspects. It's made up of what we call the parental responsibility. That's who's making the decisions on the big issues. More often than not, it's going to be joint, but there are some situations where one parent or the other may have sole decision making. And it may not be for all the decisions. It may only be for some of them. But that's the first part of the parenting plan. The second part is in what we call the parenting time or visitation. That's going to spell out what time does each parent have with the children. Generally, what is that schedule? How often are you seeing them on a weekly or on a bi-weekly basis? What kind of exceptions are there? What does the holidays look like? What does summer parenting time look like? And how does that change? Is it going to be the same throughout the entire year? Or is it going to change up? You're going to have one parenting plan during the school year, and you're going to have something a little different over the summer. So those are the biggest parts of any parenting plan.
Nice. Yeah, I know what you mean as far as the differences, especially kids in school and school breaks and stuff. Because even my parenting plan is different during the summer. I mean, I get weeks at a time versus just days of the week during the school year kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, all that stuff gets thought out and worked through, and basically, one, you want to make sure it's best for the kids, and two, you want to make sure it's really kind of fair for what you feel is your time with them, because this is going to go on for until the kid turns 18. So you're going to stick with this for quite some time.
Right. And the good thing about any parenting plan is it can be and is expected to be modifiable by the parties. The better the parties work with each other, the better you're going to be able to adjust that parenting plan as life changes. Because everybody knows, especially when kids start going from middle school into high school, their habits, their lifestyles change a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And that may or may not include more time with the parents, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's fine. But if the parents can work together, you can modify it as you need to as those changes occur. If you don't, then at least the parenting plan hopefully should lay out a basis and a basic outline for what everyone should expect. And that's what you want from a good parenting plan. You want it to be flexible, but you want it to have enough information in it so that everyone knows what is their expectation, what do they need to follow so they can get into a routine.
Right. Yeah. And I know exactly. Yeah. And I think as a parent, you also have to be flexible with your kids as they get older. So, I know my son now, has the girlfriend. And so I don't see him on the normal times, a lot of time, some days I don't get it. I'm supposed to have him, but he doesn't come because I let him go spend time with the girlfriend. They study at the library, whatever they're doing kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's just, to me, part of the process of just having adult kids, helping them be independent and learn things on their own. But yet, at the same time, I try to get as much time as I can with them.
Yep. And that's what hopefully everyone is trying to do and make it work. You don't want it to be a situation where either the parents or where any of the kids have to be kind of dragged to their parenting time. You want everybody to participate and be involved in it and doing the parenting time because maybe they don't always really want to, but they want to make sure they have a relationship with their parent. That's what you really want out of a parenting schedule, is everyone to participate and be willing to make it work for everyone else.
Right. Yeah.
I think
That's
parenting plan can be obviously one of the biggest and most disputed parts of any divorce. So I think part of the spouses and the parties need to realize you need to figure out what are the most important things in your parenting plan. What are the most important things to you to get with regard to time with your kids? You need to figure out when the two of you are getting the divorce completed, the two spouses. Are you going to continue living close to each other, or are you going to live far away? That's going to be one of the biggest issues to work out in a parenting plan. If you're moving and you're going to be half hour, 45 minutes, an hour away, that's going to impact significantly what kind of parenting plan you're going to have, because travel time now plays a big role. If you're both going to be staying close to each other, and the closer you can stay to living near your spouse while the children are still under 18, the easier it's going to make a parenting plan work. If you can be within 5, 10, 15 minutes of your spouse, there's a whole lot more flexibility in any kind of parenting plan. So, which is, I think, always a good thing. That gives us a lot more options to make a parenting plan work with everyone's schedule.
Right, exactly. Now, when we talk about parenting plans, we have kids and stuff, like we really can't leave out the child support piece. No. Is there some down and dirty way that it's figured out that isn't super complicated?
There is a formula. The best way to actually kind of get an idea, go to Google, search for Illinois Child Support Calculator. It'll bring you to the official Illinois Child Support page, and it gives you a form that you can, online form that you can fill out. You can put in how many kids you have, how many overnights you have, what everybody's income is before taxes or after taxes, whichever information you have. And it'll give you an estimate of what your child support is. Going over the formula, I think here would be a lot more technical and more than people need. But that's probably the best way. And again, be flexible with that, because you have to understand, yes, people don't like to pay child support. I get it. I see it all the time. That's one of the biggest issues we deal with, is one of the spouses ends up having to pay something. They're like, I don't want to pay child support. Nobody wants to. But understand, the reason you're paying is because you have the children less often. And because of that, you're in just the general way things go, you're paying less expenses as a result. You're buying less food. You're paying less in utilities. You're buying less clothing. So the spouse that has the children more often is typically paying more. And that's why the child support system was set up the way it was in Illinois. So even though you're paying, and you're going to be paying your spouse for whatever reason that you're going to be paying it, understand that that's the premise behind it. It's because the court is trying to kind of even out those responsibilities. And you're not getting away from it. There's very few circumstances where somebody doesn't pay any child support. So be ready for that. If you are going to be having the children less often than the other spouse, understand and be ready for it. You're going to be paying some child support, and you're going to be paying into covering the uncovered medical costs, school costs, extracurriculars, all those sorts of things too. So,
right, exactly. And I think one of the interesting tidbits with child support is kind of a fixed number, but there is also expenses on top of that, like you were just saying, with extracurriculars, medical costs, things like that, that will come into play a lot of times for the child as well.
Right. And the better you're able to talk with your spouse about those things, even after the divorce, the easier it is to kind of budget for those costs. Make sure that they're reasonable costs. Make sure that they're costs that you both can agree on, your child participating in those activities and so on. Yes, you don't have to be the best friends or friends at all with your spouse when the divorce is done, but you do have to figure out a way to work with them to make these expenses and these budgets work, because the children you have with them, that responsibility is not going away until they turn 18. So you need to figure out a way to make it work and to communicate to some extent on those issues.
Right, exactly. Well, hey, I appreciate another great day of information here. We are actually done with day 4. And if you haven't listened to the previous 3 days, you really ought to go back and find out the other information that we talked about this week, because it has been extremely good. I would like to, mention again that Chris's information is going to be in the description, so you can reach out to him with any additional questions or information you would like to learn. And he and I would like to thank you for joining us today on this episode of Breaking Ties, the interview series. And remember, divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. And with that, we will see you all tomorrow. Have a fantastic evening.
See you tomorrow.